What's up, everybody? Welcome. This is Joe for the Joe Wentz Project broadcast, doing a live broadcast tonight. And it is, what is today? Saturday, July 29th, 2017 at 8:35 Eastern. And I'm really delighted to have a guest on with me, Mr. Jim Guidry, my partner, Mr. Jim Guidry from Louisiana. That if y'all seen the collaboration video, that's him and his son. And we did a song called Chasing the Night. Jim, thank you for being here, man.
Hey, Joe. Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, man. How things going? Everything going okay with you?
Yeah, going good. Going fine. How about you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Still trying to get some loose ends tied up right here. And we also were going to have Mr. Evil Stills was, I think he's having some technical issues, but if he gets it worked out, I told him to go ahead and jump in, man. He's, so hopefully he can jump in here shortly. And I need to try to pull up the chat if I can get this going here. Let me see here. We can get it going here. There we go. And let's see. We get the chat going. There we go. We got a couple of people so far. We have Mr. David Ennis. How you doing, man? We have Mr. Brincy Rocks. Brincy Rocks is in the house. He says, "What's up, brother? Rocket." I think that's Herbie Hancock. No. Yeah, man. So we thought we would just do a live show tonight for a little while. Not nothing real long, real tedious. Just try to have a good time. And yeah, I was wanting to ask Jim to join me because I've known Jim for many years, long time. He's a great guy, great musician. And like I said, we used to not only have we done this latest video collaboration, but we've also have just done regular audio music for years, for a long time. And now, since both of us, I have to give credit to Jim. He was the first one to tell me about the Zoom Q2N, and he ordered it. And then what long after that, I got it. And so that's how we record our videos, and we send it back and forth to each other. And technology is a great thing nowadays. So it allows me to collaborate with like my friend Jim and Adam C. And it's really cool. We don't have to be in the same room to do that. So it's really cool, man. Looking forward to it. To another video there, Mr. Jim.
Absolutely.
Tell me about
we are too.
Tell me about Shy Poke says he's a newbie. What's up, man? Thanks for jumping on. Tell me a little bit, Jim, about about your history with guitar, man. What got you interested in guitar and stuff like that?
Well, actually, my older uncle played, and when I was little, and that's what kind of got me interested in it, and even though I've been playing a lot of years, I'm just, I'm not as advanced as you are, but
I'm not advanced either.
I try as hard as I can. I do the best I can, but it's, fun.
Right. It's really cool. Now, when did you get that Kramer behind you? That was that Fuchsia?
Yeah, Fuchsia. I got it in 1987. I bought it here at a local, music shop, and actually, I got lucky. It's actually one of the good ones. I know there's a big knock on the Focus 1000 that I've heard before that it's not as good as the upper models, but this one's always been a good one. And I changed out the pickup back in 1990 or 91 to a Seymour Duncan Screaming Demon pickup, and it just brought it to life. And it's been my main guitar, my favorite guitar, for 30 years now this year.
Wow, that's amazing. So when you bought that guitar, it was brand new, correct?
Correct. And actually, the funny thing, the reason I looked at a Blue Jackson that I really wanted, but the day I went to get this guitar was there, and I wish I would have got the poster, but there's a poster of Eddie Van Halen playing that color Fuchsia guitar, and that's what sold me on it. I wish I would have bought the poster, and then I'd have it on the wall,
Wow,
but I didn't have the foresight to
yeah. Well, you don't think about stuff like that until it's too late, right?
Yeah. I'm 30 years ago.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. Let me say hello to a couple more people in the chat box. We got Mr. Michael Bishop. Hey, man, how are you doing? Thank you for jumping on. Yeah. We got Sinners in the house. He says, "What up?" Paul Glover. has joined the show. Thank you, Mr. Glover, and Charlie S. So thank y'all so much for jumping on. For anybody that's just now joining, I have my friend Jim Guidry on here from Louisiana. Great friend, great musician, and we're hopefully starting to do some more video collaborations as time goes on. We've been doing music for many years, and so yeah, man, I'm looking forward to the next one. I'm not going to give away what the next one's going to be. I don't want to give away no spoilers, but we're really looking forward to it. I know I am, and I'm sure Jim and his son Alex is as well. Yes.
And also,
absolutely.
Let me just say, Alex and myself, we appreciate everybody, checking out the music and stuff. And, we really do, everybody. So if I miss somebody, say hello. Hey to everybody.
That's right, man. Yes. Yeah. If y'all haven't checked out Jim's YouTube channel, it's just Jim Guidry, Guidry, Jim Guidry. And it's you'll see some videos of him and his son Alex jamming out, man, making some great music, doing some covers and all that stuff. It's really cool, man. I think it's really awesome what y'all do. I really do, man.
Well, we
think it's really cool. Let me check the chat box, Mr. Guidry. Hang on just a second. James Lau has joined the show. Mr. James Lau, how you doing, man? Thank you. Charlie S. has a question. He says, Jim, do you remember a band called Southern Cross back in the late 70s, early 80s? I live in Jersey. They used to tour here. Excellent band. They were from Louisiana.
But I'm sorry, I can't say for sure, but it sounds familiar, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard of them, Mr. Charlie.
Was it like a takeoff of like the Allman Brothers or something like that? I mean,
I have no idea.
It makes me want to think they were like a Southern,
like a Southern rock band or something.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure, but
I don't know, Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie, I'm sorry, Charlie. But yeah.
Yeah, Charlie, if you can let us know if that's a Southern rock band or something, maybe that'll spark a memory or something. I've never heard of them. Yeah. I have no idea. Mr. Paul Glover says, "Hi, Jim." So he's saying hey to you. That's awesome, man.
Thank you.
So you said you got into it because your uncle was playing guitar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
he still plays today. He's a really good player.
Right. Yeah, I've heard you mention him a few times. So when would you say you got your first decent guitar? Because everybody's first guitar is usually kind of
Yeah, I had a couple of.
What was your first decent guitar?
That Kramer was the first really good guitar I ever bought. Before I just had a couple of kind of crappy guitars that just starting out.
Mm-hmm.
And yourself that if you don't have at least a decent guitar to start on, it makes it tough.
It does. I
mean,
but being a new guitar player, you don't know that. You think that's how it's supposed to be, and you're like, man, this is impossible.
That's the dilemma. Is you can't starting out. You can't really afford to, like for me, I couldn't afford to buy a real expensive guitar, but you really need a better, And like you've got you got some gems in your collection that you didn't pay a whole lot of money for.
Well, yeah, that's, and hopefully I got one coming next week. The Sterling by Music Man or whatever.
I know our friend and everybody's friend Daniel Hall. He loves that OLP, that purple one you got.
The purple, the purple one. Yeah. He always gives me heck about that every time. Yeah.
Didn't you say you was going to be sending? Didn't you say you was going to be sending that to him sometime? I'm just kidding.
I'm afraid I'm not.
I'm kidding.
Don't listen to that, Daniel.
I'm just kidding.
No, I want to hang on to that one. That's been a really nice guitar for the money. Right. And so yeah, I got lucky on that.
You find a diamond.
Yeah, every once in a while you can, and that's what I did a video about a few days ago. Can you get a decent guitar for $200? And in my opinion, I think you can. Now, does that go for everybody? No, everybody's going to be different,
Right.
Let's see. Brincy Rock says that band Southern Cross was an Allman Brothers style. Charlie S says, Jim.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Charlie S says, Jim, they were a mix between the Allman Brothers and Aerosmith. That's very interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Memory. I did remember a little bit of it. I thought they were. I thought they were kind of a Southern, like a Southern band like that. but yeah, I have heard of them, Charlie. I have.
Yeah.
Now that you say it, was because I thought it was connected to the Allman Brothers sound, but I wasn't sure.
Right. Right. Yeah. Um, let's see. Shy Poke says, what does it mean when a wrench is beside somebody's name? Shy Poke, that means they are a moderator. So if anybody acts up in the chat and they cut up and not acting decent, you get thrown out and banned. That's what that means. Brincy Rock says, Almond Brothers, sorry, that's what I meant to say. No problem, Brent. No problem. There's Evil Steel. He says, hey, Joe and Jim, Ken, yeah, man, if you're able to jump in,
Hey,
man,
Ken.
do it. Billy Shelton. Billy Shelton's in the house, man. What's up, Billy? Cool, man. I'm glad to see you're doing well,
Hey, Billy.
brother. Timothy Pierce is in the house. He says, hey, Joe, it's great to see you. And hello, Jim, he says. Awesome. Thank you for jumping on, Mr. Pierce. Thank you, everybody, for taking a moment to jump in here. And really appreciate your time. And I know it's Saturday evening. And this is not going to be a real long broadcast. And, we want to get Jim on here and try to get his feet wet a little bit with a live broadcast, and so y'all could have a chance to ask him any questions if you want. Like I said, he's the one I've been doing some video collaboration with lately, and we're going to do some more as well, and I'm looking forward to it. I really am. Just a lot of fun. We love the same kind of music. We got so many things in common. And I would like to say real quick, the way I met Jim was from a site, music site years ago that had you can on this particular site, you can go on there and you can post audio clips, kind of like a SoundCloud kind of deal, wouldn't you say, Jim? Kind of, sort of.
Yes.
And you can
just kind of a low. It was kind of a hidden little community that was really pretty nice for a while. I know.
Yeah,
we both posted a lot of music.
Stumbled upon it. I can't remember how I stumbled upon it.
I did too. I was actually looking for a place to upload some original stuff, and back 10, 11 years ago, there wasn't that many places, and so I just stumbled upon that.
Yeah, I did the same, and I was doing the same thing. I was doing the same thing, and it was a site called MakeTunes.com, and I was on there, and I was thinking about maybe collaborating with somebody and trying it, and I came across Jim on there, and we exchanged condolences, and we started emailing each other, and it progressed to where we exchanged phone numbers, and we've been friends ever since, and we started collaborating on some stuff back then, and it was just really cool. It was really cool how I was able to meet Jim in that way and make a really good friend, a brother, and confidant.
Thanks,
and all that. We've made a lot of music. Now, back then the production wasn't that great, but I didn't know any better. We were just working with what we had, but we were having fun. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
We were having a good time, and I'm like, we're not trying to audition for, America's Got Talent or something. Not that was around back then, but we were just having a blast. It was fun to jam with somebody, and not have to lug your equipment somewhere, and you can do it right in your house. It was really cool.
And
so that's how
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, kind of like we had the conversation the other day about how that form of media is kind of, it seems to be kind of tanking. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I guess nobody really wants to listen to anything anymore. They want to see it, and
right.
I guess, what we talked about.
Yeah, that's the age we live in now. It's I'm surprised that SoundCloud is still around, to tell you the truth. And what we talked about the other night, like Reverb Nation, I'm surprised they're still around. I'm kind of, in my opinion, I kind of see that stuff kind of going on the decline. I could be wrong. Just my 2 cents.
I think that's the trend, not really.
But so let's see. James Lau says, when y'all play together, it sounds good. Thank you, Mr. James Lau.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Yeah.
Armando's Guitars. Armando, 24/7 guitar service. He says, hello, Joe. Daniel Hall is in the house. He says, hello, Mr. Wentz. Johnny Bean's in the house. He says, what's up, dude?
Hey, Daniel. Hey, John.
And Brincy Rock says, "Fun is the key word." That's right.
That's why you
That is.
picked it up in the first place. You know, it was for fun. At least for
That's
me.
right, and that's why I'm still doing it today.
Right.
I haven't got anywhere with it, but I'm not trying
Me
to. I
either.
just love to.
Me too.
It's a great form of expression.
It's good
I mean, it's
therapy.
just it
Yeah.
is. It is. No, it's fantastic. Let's see. Michael Smith, brother Smith, is in the house. He says, "Hello, Joe and all." He's in the house.
Hello.
Let's see. Center says, "Hello, people." Let's see.
Hey, Center.
Armando's and Daniel Hall says, "You guys rock." So thank you,
Thanks,
Mr.
Daniel.
Daniel. Appreciate that, man.
Hey, Daniel,
Thank
I'm
you for.
working on that OLP for you.
Yeah, he's working on an OLP for you, Daniel. I don't know from who, but he's working on. Yeah, that's what it is. But yeah. So tell me about like what equipment are you using right now? What are you
Uh,
using currently?
when we play live or just trying to record?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've got
What
this.
are you using?
I've got this Randall cabinet sitting over here to my left, and I'm not using the head of that. I'm using the 4x12 cabinet part of it, and also have a 2x12 cabinet that sits right behind where the drums are over here. And basically, I'm running my Line 6 effects. I've got an old Pod XT Live, and I got the new HD 500X or H difficulties.
You got the. You said you also
Sorry
have the
about
what
that.
now? You have the what now? Just the HD something another. What was that?
Yeah, the Pod HD 500X also. But when me and Alex play, I'm using this old Line 6 Pod XT Live, and these rolling drums also, and we're running through a power amp. Hang on just a second, Joe, and I'll get back here.
Yeah, man, no problem.
Sorry about that, everybody. Okay. Yeah, I'm running through a clean power amp. I'm running the the Line 6 and the rolling through a clean. It's an old PV 130 watt power amp, but I'm running that through some monitors, and that's how I'm getting my live sound. And that Zoom, the microphones on that Zoom camera are, yourself, they're incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. I love the Zoom Q2N. I love it. You were the first one to tell me about it. I thought that was.
Yeah, I really got to give it to the guy at Sweetwater. That I was going to go a different route, but he talked me into doing. Well, he didn't talk me into it. He just kind of gave me the option, and I'm glad I.
Right. I'm glad you got it and tried it out, and I'm glad that I went ahead and took that leap too and got it because I'm really happy with it. It's a great recording device.
And again, I apologize. This is new for me, so
that's all right. Just don't back up.
Yeah.
Just don't move.
So, yeah, I forgot how short this is.
Yeah, it's all good.
But yeah, I'm not using
the
power amp for the Randall amp today, but it's but the effect of a clean power amp, they sound really good. I mean, everybody
Very nice. Very cool. Yeah, I love the sound you get out of there. That's why I was asking because it's really great. Let's see. Daniel Hall says, "Haha, thanks, buddy." About the OLP. Let's see. Timothy Pierce says, "Are the OLPs that good?" It just all comes down to personal opinion, Mr. Pierce. I mean, for me, I've had a couple that were great, and I've had a couple that weren't. I think it just comes down to personal preference. Like this one I have, it does great for the money. It's not a high end guitar by any means, but it does good for me. So that's why I've hung on to it all these years. And I was like, wow, man, that's a great deal. Got lucky on that one. Daniel Hall says Joe's purple OLP is gorgeous. Shy Poke says the new Sterlings are not that good in my opinion. That's cool, man. Everybody's got the right to their own opinion. I'll find out next week. And I played one at a Guitar Center, and I liked it. but that's just me. You know, everybody's got the right to their own opinion. Daniel Hall says, Jim, I listened to that music you sent me, and it was great, brother.
Thanks, Daniel. I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. And Michael Smith says, the Zoom Q2N, Joe, is that the latest version? Johnny tells you, Jim, don't pull a Dave Nesdahl and stand up while them earbuds is
That's right, Johnny.
This right here is Mr. Smith. As of right now, this is the newest version, Zoom Q2N. I think this is like the bottom of the line of like the handy cameras, right, Jim?
It is. Yeah.
That like the
yes, you know, they featured it this year. You know, and, you know,
at NAMM, right?
I believe so. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I seen.
I think it was featured this past January at NAMM is when it came out.
Right. It's been out a while. You know. I mean, you know, some people like it, some don't. I mean, you know, there's a lot of comparisons out there. I know, Joe, you've probably seen some of the comparisons, but you know, for the money, I mean, even though you have to buy that extra, you know,
accessory pack.
Right. Which if they would have just included it, I mean, in my humble opinion, if they would have just included it and just made it, you know, added it in the cost originally, you probably wouldn't even thought about it, you know. But
right. Yeah, well, I looked at the reviews on it when you told me about it. You know, I looked at the reviews on YouTube, and they were actually really good. And I was, you know, I was like, really? Is that little thing that good? And for live recording, it does great. You know, it really does. You know? I mean, for the money, you can't beat it. You know, it's just like, wow.
You know, we tried to set up, Alex and myself, like you're doing, you know, through the camera out of, you know, my recorder. Of course, you know, I've had some technical issues with mixers and stuff, but it just didn't, I don't know, for us, the microphones on it just pick up a lot better. And I mean, you know, humble opinion, but you can't beat it. I mean,
right.
You know, are there more, and you know, and GoPro really is not music. I mean,
yeah, GoPro
is great.
GoPro is more of a kind of
great,
a vlogging kind of thing, right? Yeah, the audio isn't that great for GoPro. Yeah, for what we want to do anyway. You know.
Right.
So yeah, it's.
But you know, technology is changing so fast that it's just like computers. You know, you buy a new one, and by the time you unbox it, there's something better that I'm with these cameras. And you know, like tonight, you know, the issue we both had with that Zoom camera about the webcam, you know, where we're doing a different route. You know, like me going to my phone, you know, as I would rather use the webcam, but
right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I tried getting it to work on mine, and I wouldn't have any luck, so I used something else. But that's all. It's okay. I got around.
That's what I did. Yeah.
All right, Jim. I'm going to switch gears here with you for a second. I'd like to get your input on this. Van Halen. Do you think that they're going to do something this year? Because apparently, not this year, next year. Because apparently they're not doing anything this year. Because they would have did it by now. I would think. But what is your opinion? Do you think that they're going to do something for the 30th anniversary next year? If so, do you think they're going to do something with Sammy Hagar and David Lee Roth, or do you think it's going to be one or the other?
Well, I'm sure, you know, that I know everybody in this community is, you know, who reads all about the Van Halen stuff has probably read that thing I read that I told you about. I think it was from December of last year when they were talking about, you know, I don't know who made the article, but it was supposed to be, you know, in the know, but I don't know, you know how they are, how tight-lipped everything is. You don't hear anything, you know, and it'd be nice, you know, but you wish all that music was on the shelf, you know, that everybody loves. It's just a whole different, you know, of course, the different era, but to me, I loved the original version because it was kind of like the footprint of, you know, who they were, who they became. But when Sammy joined them, I was thrilled because I was a big Sammy Hagar fan anyway. And, you know, to me, it was just as good, if not, they didn't take it to a different level. So I would hope with Sammy, you know, I mean, thank God for YouTube, where you can go back and watch the old, you know, before YouTube, you could never watch any of that stuff. But You would hope, you would think that they would. I sure do. Can I afford tickets? No, but I'll
Yeah, I
see it on
can't.
YouTube.
Yeah, it'll be on YouTube. I couldn't afford to go either. But I was thinking, I just like to ask people that are interested in these same areas that we are, and um, whether people are for the Van Halen with Daily Roth camp or Sammy camp or in the middle, it doesn't matter. To me, you know, I love VH with
Both versions, yeah.
Daily Roth, and I love both.
I
Yeah,
do too.
Sammy, I love
Yeah, I
both
do
versions.
too.
I was always a Sammy Hagar fan too, and when he joined, now I will be honest, when it finally was coming around that Dave was gone, and he was starting to do his thing, and because I remember seeing that, that little EP that came out, Crazy from the Heat, and had them like
Mm-hmm.
4 or 5 songs on it, where he covered California Girls, Just a Gigolo, and all that.
Right.
And when I saw that come out, I was like, what is this? And why does it only have like 4 or 5 songs on it? I didn't really think much about it until later. I was like, oh, he's leaving. And then Sammy stepped in, and
Right.
I was shocked. I was
I
like,
was too. And
Sammy and
if
Van Halen. I was like, how's that going to work? But it did.
you remember
It exploded.
that Guitar World magazine that came out back then, like in the '86 or whatever, the one with where Sammy had just joined, and I'm like everybody else. You wonder just what could happen to that would blow that apart at the seams. That it's just, I don't know. I guess that's the big question we all ask. How could they not get back together? And create. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
And they could be. I mean, who are we? I don't know. Who
Yeah, I don't.
They're not
I
going to
don't.
tell me.
Right. Yeah, I don't know either. Just checking the chat box real quick. Evil Still says, Joe, I'm having loss of signal for everything. Oh, that's okay, Jim. I mean, I'm sorry, Ken. Just I understand, man.
Sorry, Ken.
I'm having some crazy issues over here as well. It's just, I think it's just something that's in the mix here for the might be something in the water or something, because it's just one of those technical things sometimes. But thanks for letting us know, man. And if you get it fixed within the next few minutes, man, feel free to jump in here. Let's see. Michael Bishop says Zoom makes some good audio recorders.
Yes.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed their effects too. When I was, this was years ago. I'd remember them little Zoom effects, some little silver pedals, have the 2 pedals on it, and it had the built-in presets.
They make good drum machines too. They used to.
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
But the Beat Buddy revolutionized that, didn't it?
Yeah, the Beat Buddy's something else, man. If nobody's not familiar with the Beat Buddy drum pedal, look into that. Look it up on YouTube.
It's cool.
And Jim has one, and I have one myself, and it's the drum sounds on that thing are phenomenal. And what blew my mind is,
great tool.
Yeah, what blew my mind is those aren't samples; those are actually drum sounds. And they went through every step of that and put that in there. I thought that was amazing. I was like, wow, that took some time to do that.
Yeah.
Great
invention. Yeah.
Oh, that guy's sitting pretty right now.
They didn't have stuff like that, back when we first started, back in the '80s and stuff. All this technology was out of reach, financial wise, to regular people, like us who couldn't afford. You was lucky to have a Fostex 4-track cassette mixer.
Oh yeah, I remember those days.
That was out of and that was out of reach. For most people,
Yeah, I remember when I got my first Fostex cassette Fostex 4-track cassette recorder. It was like almost $400, and for somebody back then, for somebody like me, that was a lot. It still is today. That was a lot of money, Yeah,
because the average musician or drummer, guitar player, bass player, whatever, singer, that technology was really out of grasp unless you knew somebody with a studio or. And like down here where I'm at, I mean, there's not, the music scene used to be real big here in the 70s and 80s, but it's absolute zero now. It's yeah. I mean, maybe it could be. I just don't. I'm too old to go down there and enjoy it, but not from what I know.
Right. Right. And there's something I want to ask you about that here in just a second. Let me touch on this chat box if you don't mind.
Sure.
Let's see. Timothy Pierce says, I hope that David Lee Roth, Sammy Hagar, and Michael Anthony will be on tour with some new stuff next year. I think that's what everybody is wondering, Mr. Pierce. That would be great. I'm betting my bottom dollar that's what's going to happen. Just for my 2 cents. The Vigilant says, hey, Joe and everyone. Vigilant's in the house. What's up, Vigilant?
Hey, Vigilant.
Daniel Hall says, Sammy made Van Halen a better band, and I agree with Daniel Hall 100%. James Lau says, Dave was good for his time, but Sammy is still good.
Yeah, 70 years old.
What do you think about that, Jim?
Yeah, I mean, look at Sammy today. I mean, he is, still as good as ever. And I love his road trip deals. Those are always cool to watch,
Yes, and something that I pulled up on YouTube. I'm sure you've seen it, Jim, and I'm sure some other people have seen it as well. And if you haven't seen it, pull it up and watch it. It's the big interview with Sammy Hagar with Dan Rather.
Yeah, that good.
Is
Man,
very
it's
good.
very in depth. Very, very interesting.
Yes. That is a great interview. I love Dan Rather, man.
I love the Ferrari or the Lamborghini, whichever one.
Yeah, that $1.3 million Ferrari. Yeah. And Dan Rather takes a ride in it. Yeah, that's awesome.
I don't know what Sammy's secret is, but man, he's a fountain of youth,
Yeah, he looks fantastic.
And it's so fun to go back.
70
I know it's so fun to go back and look at the old, back in the day videos and how. He still really looks the same. He's just.
Yeah.
But man,
he's put on a little bit of weight, but he still looks the same. But hell, we all put on weight.
Man, that's unfortunately. It's nature of the beast.
It is, man. Let's see. Daniel Hall says, Jim and Joe make fantastic music yourselves, guys. Don't be shy. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate that, man.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, Jim's a great musician and great dude, man.
Thanks, Joe.
Kim James says, is this the Van Halen channel? Not necessarily. It just sometimes it'll come up in discussion. We talk about all kind of stuff, man, all kind of music. So it's not necessarily just about Van Halen, Daniel Hall says that interview with Dan Rather was good, very good, he says. Charlie says, Daniel, I agree 100%. Tone Bolts is in the house. He says, hello, good people. What's up, Tone Bolts?
Hey, Tone Bolts. My favorite, I'm sorry, go ahead, Joe. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying one of my favorite episodes of that road trip is when he does one with Billy Gibbons,
Yeah.
And they're back there in the little section in the back and they play Jesus Just Left Chicago. And it was just, it's pretty cool, spontaneous little jam they had.
That is cool. That is awesome. Tell me what I was wanting to ask you. In Shreveport, I remember you have told me before that was a big thriving music scene back in the day. I mean, it was. There were some major people that you've seen. Can you touch on that a little bit for me and everybody else?
Well,
because I was really shocked to hear about that.
Yeah, there was a lot of big bands that come through Shreveport. Like the local music scene was, it's funny. It's like when Van Halen with Valerie Bertinelli's parents living here. I never seen them downtown, but they had the district downtown where the music was, and you could basically walk almost from bar to bar and see different bands. It was really neat. In fact, I just read this article about Pantera that said that they found their singer Sid. I think that's his name. Don't crucify me if I'm wrong, but they had found him. They was playing at a place called Circle in the Square downtown. And he was with another band, and that's where they discovered him at, or they hooked up, or they made the plans to whatever, which is interesting, But yeah, I think Eddie used to frequent down there some when they were in town. And like I said, I've never seen them down there, but there's a picture I sent you that I found on the local. There's a group of people that I guess, reminisce from the day, and they have a little website, and there's a picture of Eddie playing a guitar with a couple of local musicians, and it was like 84, 85, I guess. So it was kind of interesting,
Yeah, I
you know.
remember that
Yeah,
picture. I remember you sent me that picture. That was cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 But yeah, you know, there was some good local bands. You know, one that and the guy I know, there was a band called Exit that was a big band here, and in fact, I think they won like the MTV Video Award or something like that back in the 80s, 85, 86, whatever, when MTV was
Wow.
really hot. Yeah. So, but you know, it's nothing now. I mean, but you know, it's all riverboat casinos down there now. But back then, it was a thriving music scene, and it's a shame that you know something like that just dies out.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's crazy how things change, man. Everything is just
Yeah.
because I bet you thought then that that would always be there and that would never change.
Yeah. You
You know.
know, I mean, I was, you know, I was my late, I was 19, 20 years old, and we used to go down there all the time and watch, you know, bands and music, and it was a lot of, it was really neat. You know, it's something that is no longer here in this area. You know, but yeah, it was really big back then.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, man. Absolutely. Just like I grew up in Charlotte, and it was pretty big back then and stuff. And there's some quite a few places there that were landmark places for bands to play. Uh, uh, and they have since closed down. And I never thought it would close down. There's a place here in Greenville that's been here for years, and a lot of bands played there, even when they were starting out, called the Handlebar, and that place is closed. It wasn't that long ago; it shut down, and I was like, the Handlebar closed down. I was like, that place has got a lot of music history. I mean, a
Right.
lot, and it closed down. We got let's see here. We got. Let me touch on this chat box, Mr. Jim, if you don't mind. Brent
Yes,
C.
sir.
Rocks says too much keyboards with Sammy. Just my opinion. Like it, but I did not love it. I understand, Mr. Brent. Hey, man,
Yeah.
it's all good, man.
Sure.
Blackie DH says, hey, Joe and everyone else in the chat. Blackie DH is in the house.
Hello.
Let's see. Oh, that guy center says that the singer's name for Pantera is Phil. That was
Phil.
his name.
Yeah.
Phil.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Senator.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know.
it's all good. I didn't know his name. I wasn't ever a Pantera fan, so I didn't know. It's all good,
Right.
man.
But it's just
Um,
interesting to you know to read that article. That's why I mean there was a lot of you know a lot of history down there, but it's just interesting.
oh yeah, absolutely. I love hearing those stories, man, because you live there. You know.
Right.
Um, Mike Ray is in the house. What's up, Mr. Mike Ray?
Hey, Mike.
Michael Smith says he's got to run, have a report to do for work that needs to be completed. Have a great night, guys. Keep rocking. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Thank you for
Thank you.
jumping on, man. Um, and anybody saying hey to Blackie DH and saying bye to Michael. Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, so tell me. Also, there's a cool story that I thought was that you told me before that I'd like you to share. I thought it was really cool. Um, there was a story you told me one time about Dave Lee Roth on a three wheeler that like
Yeah.
ran
Yeah.
through your
Yeah.
yard or something or another.
Not
I
my
can't. I
stepdad's
can't.
yard. Yeah. That's when you know back when three wheelers, there wasn't four wheelers back then. You know, and my parents live in a neighborhood that's you know in the same kind of close vicinity where uh, Valerie Burton and his parents lived, and I guess they were in town riding three wheelers, and they came through and cut through the front part of my stepdad's yard. And he said, What are they driving through my yard for?" And I thought, "Hey, that's Eddie Van Halen and David Lee Roth." He said, "I don't care who they are, you know, don't cut through my yard." You know, don't cut through my yard, you know. But yeah, I mean, you know, that was the only like I said, I didn't live in, you know, I didn't live over there at the time, but that was a, you know, I think it was pretty frequent thing, you know, in that area
Mm,
at the time.
that is a cool story. I remember when you told me that, and I thought that was just really cool. You know, I was like,
Yeah,
what are the odds? You
yeah,
know.
yeah, exactly.
Let's see. Blackie DH says he saw Pantera a couple of times. They were badass. Oh yeah, they're an awesome, phenomenal group. It just
Yeah,
wasn't my cup of tea. You know, I'm not taking nothing away from Pantera at all. Not at all. Um, Charlie S has an interesting question. Thank you, Charlie, for your question. He says, hey guys, do you think pedals are going to fade out in the next 5 years and multi-effects will take over? What do you think, Jim?
It's funny, they're kind of making a comeback. Seems like, like reissue of those old
boutique pedals and stuff.
Yes. I mean, for me, it's easier to run through like a guitar effects processor. For me, it's just easier all in one. And I've had great luck with Line 6. And I don't know, pedals are cool. It's just, you see a lot of them, it seems like they're making a comeback. And there's just so many different ones. It's hard to, if you look online, if you look at the music places, it's like there's so many different ones to choose from. But yeah, I kind of think they're making a comeback,
Yeah.
Like I say, for me, it's just, and for me, I really, like going into a recorder, it's just, without having to use a direct in or whatever, direct box. It's just, it just works better for me. But I like all the pedals and stuff.
Yeah, I don't, Charlie, my answer to your question, for my side, do I think pedals are going to fade out? I don't think so. I don't think they'll fade out. I just don't see that happening. Multi-effects are, like I'm like Jim. I have a Digitech RP1000 multi-effects processor on the floor, which I love, but I still use a pedal beside it if I want some more boost or something for like lead or something like that, just to give it that little extra oomph if I need it, So for me, I don't see it fading away. I mean, it seems like more of that stuff's coming out.
It seems like it's funny how technology kind of, it's it's like now, you really can't buy a standalone recorder per se if it's not computer, like Pro Tools or some of the other software. As I just recently had issues with my old recorder and bought a new one. Man, I've actually, yourself, I've got something else to use besides that. But it's almost the day of that's another thing that I think is going to the wayside. It's the standalone, digital recorder workstation, I guess,
Oh yeah.
But it just seems like the old pedals and stuff, like they're making a comeback, I mean, to me.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like you see more and more. I mean, it's like that pedal you got, that reverb. What is that? The Transit?
The Dispatch Master.
Yeah,
Dispatch Master.
Awesome pedal. Yeah,
it's got the delay and reverb in one. Yeah. I thought that was.
Actually, yeah, absolutely. There's just so many to choose from. It's hard. It's like in a candy store. You don't know what. There's
a bunch out there, which I think is cool. I mean, because everybody's different.
Yeah, it's variety.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Center says, I seen Pantera open up for Skid Row. Poor Skid Row. Hey, you Center. Daniel Hall says, Jim Guidry has his own channel too. Everyone, he plays with his son Alex, and they get on there and give them a look. Thank you, Daniel. That's awesome, man. Yeah. Charlie S says, Joe, you know how I feel about a reunion. Yes, Charlie and I are definitely on the same page. I say Sammy Hagar with the boys. Dave can stay home. That's just my 2 cents. Just my opinion.
I would love to see, Wolfgang open up for Van Halen with Michael Anthony and Sammy, But
yeah, I would like to see Wolfie do his own thing, which I mean, he might be. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think that'd be cool.
He's an excellent musician.
Oh yeah. Oh God, yeah. He's fantastic.
Man. Of course, why wouldn't he be? Right. It's in the genes.
Right, absolutely. Timothy Pierce says the Hampton Ballroom and Casino has hosted everyone over the last 100 years. I'm so glad I moved up here. Just saw Rat there in June, Led Zeppelin, Janis Joplin, and so many more. ZZ Top will be coming soon. Wow, that's amazing.
Wow.
You in the right spot, Mr. Pierce.
It's funny here in Shreveport. ZZ Top had come through many, many times in the 80s, and I never could get tickets. It was always back in my concert days. It's like they would announce it. That's long before the internet, of course. But once they announced it, they were always sold out. I mean, it's just.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I got to see them once. That was years ago. They were the headliner. I can't remember who opened up for them. It was so long ago.
Isn't it interesting that Jimi Hendrix said that? I know you're a big Jimi Hendrix fan, so you would know this, but he said that Billy Gibbons was an excellent guitar player.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? Ain't that something?
That's a heck of a compliment.
That is. That is. Yeah, that's fantastic, man. Timothy Pierce says pedals are making a comeback. Daniel Hall says only problem with pedals is cost. Some are too crazy, $200 plus. Yes, Mr. Daniel, I have to agree, because that Dispatch Master I got, it was what, Jim? It was like what, $250, I think.
Yeah,
for the pedal. So I knew it was a lot, but the reviews on it were fun, and it sounds phenomenal. Do I think $250 is a lot for one pedal? Absolutely. But I couldn't buy pedals at $200+ a pop. I just couldn't do that. But I wanted that one particular pedal to serve for one purpose, to do like some ambient guitar sounds and stuff.
And plus, if you're, I mean, well, of course now, everybody puts them in a pedal board, of course, but back years ago, you really couldn't get a pedal board. The regular player, it was hard to afford. If you had 3 or 4 pedals, you had all the patch cords and everything laid out. It's just a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I do. I think they're making a comeback. Really, I do. But I don't think the effects processors will go away. That Helix is a pretty cool thing, but
yeah, it's
way out of reach for me.
Yeah, it's got a nice price tag on it, don't it?
That's why. Yeah, that's why I don't have one.
Yeah, me neither, man. Center says pedals are easier to use, more so.
Yeah.
After many of beers.
I have to agree.
Black at DH says pedals will never go away. Digital stuff is amazing now, but still not the same.
Well, it's like this Line 6 I have. They model all these old amps and stomp boxes, and and they're modeling all that stuff. I mean, they're just basically copying what the original was,
what the classics was.
Right.
Yeah. That's
it's like the Ibanez
point.
tube screamer. That tube screamer. I think it's the S9 or the old green one. I know they reissued that. I used to have one from the 80s. I don't know what happened to it.
I did too.
I left it somewhere, but it was incredible. But I know they reissued it, and I think I seen a YouTube review of the new TS9 or the old the new one, and or the what they've upgraded. But I think the old one sounded better. I mean, just my opinion.
It did.
Yeah.
With the original components and stuff, It did. I thought it did.
I did. Yeah.
I mean, not saying that the reissues are bad.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
My son has one, and it sounds awesome. But I think the original was just had that little extra something on it.
If you would have never played through the original, then the other one probably wouldn't.
You wouldn't know.
Right.
Yeah, you wouldn't know the difference. That's true. Ronnie Parker has a great question. He says, if Eddie does not let Sammy come back, do you guys think that they are done?
Never say never. I mean,
yeah, never say never. I don't know.
I don't know. Again, you just wonder. Just like I say, who. I'm nobody, but you just wonder as a huge fan all my life. You just wonder how could it. You watch these old videos of them, and you think, how can something that great come apart at the seams and just can't. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
that's just my 2 cents. I mean, I hope they would. I'd love to hear some new music like everybody else.
Absolutely, I would too.
I've seen from the Van Halen news desk that's on Twitter about. I think there's some old tracks of theirs in the vault, so to speak. That were. I read it the other day but I don't think they're going to put it out. But I think they were talking about it'd be nice if they did. It'd be, it'd be cool to hear something new, But the old stuff you still love. And in fact, I put in OU 812 the other day after I watched your lunchtime broadcast. You was playing around with that, and I listened to it, and man, those, it still sounds as good. Does the producing on it sound a little different? Yeah, it does, but still, it's great,
Yeah, the songwriting and stuff is awesome.
Oh,
Eddie's guitar playing is phenomenal on that record.
Absolutely. Yeah. Doesn't get any better.
I'm telling you. Center says his favorite pedal is the wah pedal. It's ease of use. Center says, wait, I have to do a solo. Wow. That's funny. That's funny. All right. Timothy Pierce.
I had a pedal. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Timothy Pierce says digital is a synthetic representation of the great things you can get with analog. Great for a quick idea, but if you want it to last a long time, analog is the way to go. Let's see here. Center. I'm sorry, not Center, but Charlie S says, Center, I'm strictly a pedal guy. Just so many multis coming out.
Right.
Okay, multi effects. Okay, I got you. Blackie DH says, Joe, who are we talking to here? This is Mr. Jim Guidry, Blackie DH. This is the one I did my last collaboration video with. And if you look on my channel, look at the last collaboration video where it says chasing the night. That's Jim right here. He's playing guitar, and his son Alex is playing drums. That's who I have on here. And Daniel Hall says he loves him some Billy Gibbons.
Yeah. Wasn't it interesting to see that he uses those 7-gauge strings on his guitar?
God, yeah, that's something else, man. That's for me, that'd be just a little bit too light.
What do you use? What gauge do you use, Joe?
9 to 42. That's what I use.
So I use 1046. I use a little heavier.
Yeah. I've always been a 9-gauge guy. I just 10s are just too much for me.
Right.
Brent says he loves his Black Star. Cool.
That's cool little amps, I tell you.
Timothy Pierce says, I love that song, Up for Breakfast, and Catherine. Yeah, Up for Breakfast, that was on the when they did the greatest hits or whatever with Sammy. That was one of the 3 new songs that they did. Up for Breakfast and the 2 other ones that I can't remember right now. The Vigilant says Van Halen's Respect the Wind instrumental. Yeah, that was off the Twister soundtrack, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that was good.
Blackie DH says, nice to meet you, Jim. There you go.
Hey, Blackie, nice to meet you, man. Thank you.
But I think that I remember the days of having just a in the early days of having just like a Gorilla amp, and didn't even have a pedal, and didn't know what I was doing. And I was like, I got a guitar and an amp. And then I'd go to the music store when I lived in Charlotte, of course, and you hear those guys play, the guys that work there, you hear them play through this massive. It was really smart because somebody that, like, when I was at the time, I didn't know, I was naive. You walk in there and they have like this central hub right here around where the new guitars are at, of like this big rack of all these different effects, delays, reverbs, and all this, probably, $8,000 worth of things sitting there. And whenever you tried out a guitar, that's where they took you. They took you to that area and they plugged it up and they gave you the cable and you sat there and you played and it sounded incredible, amazing. And I was like, how come my amp don't sound like that? And I didn't know until some time went by, I figured it out, but all that stuff was digital, there wasn't no pedals, and that was back then.
It's like that documentary on Sound City, about the studio with
Dave Grohl.
And that Neve board that he bought. It's really interesting to see, how the transformation went from analog and splicing and cutting the tape and doing all those tricks. Those guys, those engineer guys were so good at it.
on that Neve
Yeah.
board. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, when they went from that to the guy built the digital studio, and it's kind of like Tom Petty said in that thing. He said, you know, he goes in there and he's got one knob. So that's, you know, that's all he needs. And, you know, he said he wants to turn some knobs and stuff. And then, you know, and if you think about it, it's when digital hit, for me, man, it was the greatest thing, you know, to have a CD with that clean, crisp, you know, it just sounded so incredible. But it's funny how CDs are almost going away now. You know, everything's a download or an MP3 or
sure is. I never thought I'd see the day where CDs would go away.
Oh, me neither. I know. You know, it's just funny how how everything evolves, and you know, it makes you wonder. It's like with vinyl. You know, how some vinyl's coming back now. You know, that wasn't. You know, vinyl records sounded so good back in the day, but you know, that's why you look forward to the digital version to get that pristine. I always liked the CD myself. I mean, it sounded better. You know.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I never was a big vinyl person. I mean, I know a lot of people enjoy that, and if you like that, that's fantastic. I'm not putting it down whatsoever.
I mean, well, it was in my era, you know. I mean, as old as I am, I mean, you know, there was albums, and it was cool to get an album with an insert, and you know, I always remember Bachman Turner Overdrive had an album back in the day, and it looked like a box full of gears, you know, and it was just cool. It's you know, there wasn't MTV back then, and and you didn't. The only way you found out about anybody, you know, your band or whatever, you got a musician. I mean, a guitar player, or Guitar World, or you know, one of the old magazines from back then. Guitar lessons, man. You know, you had to go take lessons, and now all you got to do is turn on YouTube, and you got thousands of people showing you how to play whatever.
You got it right there.
Yeah. I wish they had YouTube when I was in my teens.
Ain't that something? I think that's why a lot of younger kids nowadays, I think that's why they're so such excellent musicians. I think YouTube has a lot to do with that. I really do.
Right, I do too.
You know, because back in the day, we had to either listen to the record or the cassette tape, and like, what's he doing? You know,
right.
It was
and I never could get into tablature because it was just too. It was, and it wasn't always correct. I mean, you know, you could go and learn it, but it just wasn't always exactly like, you know, like what the song actually goes. It was, you know what I'm saying. I just never could sit down and learn tablature. I had to do it by ear.
Me too on a lot of stuff. My son now, he would sit there and he'd learn the tablature note for note, and then I'd ask him to show me. I'd say, "How you play the song?" You know, because it just sitting there doing it. He'd be sitting on the end of his bed, man, just looking at that book, and I'm like, man, I just don't have the patience for that.
Let him do all the hard work, and
yeah. So, let's check the chat box, man. Let's check the chat box here. We want to keep in touch with people.
Well, apparently it's paid off for Nathan. Yeah, it's paid off for Nathan because he's an excellent guitar player for sure.
Oh, yeah, he is. Thank you, man. Yeah, he is. He's excellent. He's surely blew me out. He's blown past me years ago. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Timothy Pierce says, I use gauge 9 to 42, 8 to 38. I'm still using 9 to 42s to this day. That's awesome.
Right. You know, the only reason I use a 1046 is it's just, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do what, Jim? What'd you say?
No, I was just, nothing, go ahead. I was just talking about the string gauge and why I use a 1046 instead of 942s. It's just.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just like, it's got a little fatter sound to me, but.
Right.
I don't do all that stuff you do, Joe, so, you know.
You crazy, man. You crazy. Blackie DH says CDs, no kidding. I remember when those came out. Yeah. I remember that too.
That was a big thing to have a CD player, you know. You know, when I
remember seeing the first CD player I went to go see. Actually, it was a dual deck CD player, and it was in Sears. You know how much that thing was back then?
Probably $500, probably.
It's $5.90. It was $5.99.
Oh my God, really?
Sure was.
Well, you know, the first CD player I had in my truck have an input. It was one of those kind of like, you know, it was just a single CD player, you put the CD in, and it didn't even have the shock playing to it. So when you're driving down the road with the CD in there,
skip.
and it would go into the cassette player. You
hit a bump, I remember that.
And cassette player adapter. Turn it off. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I remember that. Absolutely. Golly, I remember that. Oh, Lord. Charlie S. makes a great statement. He says, I think the problem with pedals is so many. I remember the day we all had Boss and MXR pedals.
Yeah.
Let's see here. A few more comments here. Armando's guitars. You can't beat the 9 to 42 gauge strings, he says. Timothy Pierce says cassettes, then CDs. I still buy CDs. And Charlie says he does as well on the CDs. Yeah. This is right up your alley, Jim. Blackie DH says, here's a question. What was everyone's first CD they bought? Mine was Kingdom Come in 1988.
Really? Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. Kingdom Come. My first one, I remember exactly which one it was because I got it as a gift with my CD player, and it was Creed. What was the second? The Creed second CD.
Human Clay.
Yes.
Maybe.
Thank you. Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big Creed fan.
I always liked Creed. I liked him too. I really
Tremonti, I love his. I love his style, his rhythm. It's just his sound and the way he plays. But the whole band, I mean.
Oh, they were phenomenal, man.
Yeah. Oh man,
I love that band.
Their sound.
Another example of how things just, whatever happened with that band. I'm not sure. Well, I kind of do know what happened because I have what's his name? Scott Stapp, his audiobook. And he goes into a lot of detail about that. So he was bad in the drinking and stuff before he got cleaned up. That's what broke that up because of his drinking.
Right.
But he's since then got cleaned up, but I think he made too many deep wounds with that, because they did try to reunite, but I don't think he was quite cleaned up back then either. So, it is what it is. Let's see. Timothy Pierce says, tablature is never correct. Every time I look at a tab, it has so many mistakes.
Absolutely. That's why I quit burning my brain trying to figure that out. It just never was an avenue for me. Because I'd rather learn it by ear, and like now you just find it on YouTube and
and you can a person can teach you the song. It's amazing.
I know.
It's amazing.
Because I use it a lot. There might be a part of a song that I can't remember or that I'm playing it wrong, and I'll find there's a few good ones, and I mean there's a bunch of they're all the funny thing is you can learn from anybody. You can learn from the best player, you can learn something from the worst player. Really, I mean.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I never discount anybody out there. You just never. You can always learn from.
Can always learn something, man. Always.
Sure. Yeah.
You can always learn something. Let's see. Charlie S says he believes that his first CD was Sabbath, Volume 4. Center awesome. Says his first CD was Metallica, Kill 'Em All.
Yeah.
Kev James says his first CD was Magical Mystery Tour. He was in 5th grade. Wow.
It's funny. The center talking about Metallica. I seen the Monsters of Rock in 1988 at a.
Oh yeah, you did go to that show.
Yeah, and I wasn't at that time. That was in '88, and that was a concert. Of course, Kingdom Come opened, and it was, Kingdom Come and then Metallica, which, I wasn't a big Metallica fan back then, and now I look back, and I could have seen that. I didn't watch it as closely as I wish I would have now, but yeah, it was incredible. I think Metallica was, they put on a heck of a show. Of course, the deal with Sammy and his voice going out there, when Van Halen come on last. But that was a heck of a concert. It was great.
That was at that show. That was at that show you was at when Sammy's voice went out. Oh,
right. And then they did that. Then they did that free concert downtown. In fact, I watched the video the other night.
But that was like 3 years later. That was like 3 years later.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, but still, it was, and it was packed. The Cotton Bowl. I mean, it was hot summertime, August, and you know, just there was a lot of people there. Kingdom Come put on a great show. Like I said, Metallica. I wish I would have been into them. Like, you know, I didn't realize what. You know, like I said, I was more into Dokken and Van Halen and.
Right.
You know, at the time, but no, I you know, I love Metallica.
Yeah, that's when Mr. Bruce has joined the chat. What's up, Mr. Bruce?
Hey,
I'll
Bruce.
get back to your comments, folks, in just 1 second here. When you went to that Monsters of Rock, what was that? You said that was what? What year was that again? 88?
It's 1988. Mm-hmm.
88. Okay. Yes. Because after the Monsters of Rock, if I'm not mistaken, after that tour was over, Dokken broke up. That was
I think they were on the verge of it, right, during that time, you know. I mean, because their sound wasn't that great, you know. I mean, I was still glad to see them, but you know, they just the Scorpions put on. My gosh, you know, it was because it was Kingdom Come, Metallica, Dokken, Scorpions, and Van Halen. I mean, what a show, you know. I wish I still had the T-shirt I bought. I don't know what happened to it, but yeah. But still, the Van Halen show was wonderful. It's just, you know, his voice started going out. But really, I mean, I didn't, you know, I thought it was great. Have you ever been to a bad Van Halen show? No.
I haven't. No, but how long? What I want to know, what I'd like to know is how long was it when Van Halen came on and then Sammy's voice said he couldn't sing no more? Was it 3 songs into the show, 1 song, 5 songs?
I think it was a little maybe midways because it was getting dark. You know, the thing started that afternoon about 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, something like that, and so it was getting dark. I mean, in summertime here, it's got to be around 8:30, 9 o'clock. So because the light show is incredible, and that's about the time I think his voice started going out. You know? But he still sounded good to me. I mean, you know, I wish I could have seen the free concert they put on. If you watched the video, it's pretty incredible. You know?
I did. I have seen that.
Man.
I have seen that because Sammy said in his book when his voice went out on that show. He said in his book when he said, "We'll make this up. I promise we'll make this up." And they went off stage. He said Eddie and Alex crucified him over that stuff. He said, man, they stayed mad at him for a long time. And he said it was 3 years later before they went back and made things right with that.
Wow.
And that's why they did that free show.
Wow. Yeah, well, I mean, your voice is, you know, your voice is not like you break a string or break a drum head or cymbal. I mean, what can you do with your voice? You only got one. You know.
That's right. That's right. Let me get some comments here, Jim, real quick. I don't want to ignore these comments if I can help it. The Vigilant says his first CD was Yngwie Malmsteen's Rising Force.
Wow. I bet it sounded good too.
Yeah, Mr. Bruce is there. He says Journey Trial by Fire was the first CD for him that he remembers. I bought cassettes all the time. Yeah, I had a bunch of cassettes myself back in the day.
I still got some of mine.
I don't have any. Tomebolt says got Justice for All on vinyl, no player, so listen to it on CD. Sinner says he's seen the Monsters of Rock in '88 as well. That's right. Sinner did go to that show. He was he's seen them in Michigan. Yeah, he said I've seen Metallica on every tour since the Masters of Puppets. Excuse me.
Wow. Like I said, I wish I would have paid more attention at the time, you know, because they blew up after that. You know, I mean, they were already big anyway. I mean, but,
yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Let's see. Kev James says heavy metal parking lot is funny. Blackie D8 says Jim and I must be about the same age.
54.
Let's see. Timothy Pierce says, I rewound the cassettes all the time to learn all of the songs until I got it. Wow. I remember those days too.
Yes.
Armando's Guitar says, great show, and they were all awesome, but I was dead by the time Van Halen came on. I saw them in Tampa. I bet so, man. I bet you were fried by the time they came on. Wow.
Hey, Armando's.
Oh, Charlie S says putting matchbooks under your 8-tracks and 8-track player. Does anybody remember that?
I got a funny story about an 8-track.
Sure, go ahead.
One of the first cars I had, I had an 8-track in it, and the Jay Giles band,
Yeah.
at back then that had an 8-track and it was pink. And I'm trying to think that was the one that had had their hits on. I can't remember which one it was, but anyway, my heater core busted in that car one day, and it flooded the floorboard on the passenger side. And that 8-track was on the floor, and it got so much antifreeze in the floor that pink 8-track was floating.
Oh.
I never will forget that.
Wow.
Or 8-track, right when it got to the best part, like Stairway to Heaven, or the solo part, you had to change tracks.
I remember that very well. I remember that.
Back, basically you bought a new car, you got an AM radio in it.
Yeah, I remember years ago when I got I was in my first marriage, got our first car. The only thing I was concerned with was it had an air conditioner. It didn't even come with a radio.
Right.
I just wanted to make sure it had an air conditioner because my very first car didn't have an air conditioner. It was a little 2-door Cavalier, 87 Chevy Cavalier, no AC. I mean, it didn't come with AC. And that was, I was young then. I could roll the windows down. It wasn't no big deal. And then when you get older, you're like, the heck with that. Give me some AC. Because I got where I was working outside all the time. And, man, I got that car, make sure it had AC. I eventually put a radio in it, but I wanted to make sure I had AC. That was the main thing. I said, I got to have some air conditioning. Man, let's see here. Mr. Bruce says he remembers 8-tracks. Yeah, I remember that very well too. I'm sorry, Blackie DH says, me too, Bruce. I had Rush and Van Halen on 8-track. Mr. Bruce says, Angel in the centerfold.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Let's see here. Kev James said, my dad. Okay, he says, my dad got a Kenny Rogers 8-track stuck in the player in our car. One time he told my mom, who had asked him how long it takes to get somewhere, he said, rewind devil went down to Georgia. When it plays, then you're close. It's like, wow. Let's see. Armando's Guitar says, hello, Jim and Joe. I got to run to pick up my son from a friend's house. Take care. Thanks, Armando's.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for jumping in, man. Yeah, Blackie DH in his Trans Am. I used to love Trans Am. That's all my favorite car, man, when I was a kid. There you go, Jim. Charlie S says, I had a Camaro.
Yeah, I did too. I had a 68 Camaro that I wish I still had it today. No, Alex does.
Yeah. I know your son wishes you had it. Yeah. Absolutely. That's amazing, man. That's amazing. I think we're going to get ready to wrap this up. We've been on for about an hour and 15 minutes. Are you good, Jim?
Yeah.
You good? All right.
I enjoyed it.
Yes, I did too, very much. I didn't want to be on here too long. I don't want to take up too much of people's time. I know it's Saturday night, and everybody's got things they want to do, and I just want to jump in here for a little while. And I wanted to introduce Jim on the channel here. If y'all not familiar with Jim Guidry's channel, please check him out. It's Jim Jim Guidry, Guidry. Check out Evil Still as well. Hopefully next time he can be on here with us. Yes, Mr. Ken.
Hey, Ken. Yeah.
And thank you everybody for jumping in. Yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in and listening to our stories. And we're looking forward to doing this again. Really looking forward to it. And I'd like to say thank you to Jim for being here. Thank you, Jim, very much for taking the time to be here, man. Thank you so much.
And thank everybody. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, Mr. Bruce says, great to see you, Jim. And
thank you, Bruce.
Mr. Pierce says, okay, Joe and Jim, bye. See y'all later. Blackie DH says, thanks, guys. Thank y'all, man. Thank y'all for watching.
Thank y'all very much. I appreciate it much.
Daniel Hall says, you gentlemen have a blessed night. Night, Jim and Joe.
You too, Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel, man. You the man.
Yes,
Let's see. Everybody's saying their goodbyes. About said hellos, goodbyes. I want to be sure I address people. I don't want to leave nobody hanging because that's just not right. Mr. Bruce says, have a good night, Joe and Jim. Thank you, Mr. Bruce.
Thank you, Mr. Bruce.
Charlie S. I'm a 10 to 46 string gauge guy. I feel sloppy when I play nines. Plus, I'm a hardtail player. I hear you, Charlie S.
Hey, Charlie, it's cool.
Tone Bolt says, thank you all. Thank you, Tone Bolts, man. Thank you very much. Bruce Anderson. There's Mr. Bruce Anderson. He goes, thanks. I enjoyed the show. Thank you so much.
Bruce. Thanks, man.
Thank you. The Vigilant says, thanks, guys. Thank you, Mr. Vigilant, man. Mike Ray says, Joe and Jim, thumbs up. Thank you, man. Thank y'all for the thumbs ups, man. Thank you very much.
I enjoyed your video too, Mike.
Yes.
It has a beautiful polish. Awesome. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Let's see. Blackie Date says later. Brincy rocks.
Right on, Blackie.
Brincy is the man that's always on tour, always doing shows. That's Brincy rocks. God bless you guys. Rock. Thank you, everybody, very much. God bless you guys. We love you guys. Until next time, this is Joe for the Joe Wentz Project. Stay safe because we want to see you again. Until then, peace out. Bye-bye, everybody.